We can go from the heaviest land mammal to the tallest. So keep your eyes out for a zebra. Magic Zuckerberg. A few of them. No?
He's gonna come to Scott, he's got a baby in my pants.
Okay. Okay, just before we cut over to Scott, here is the juvenile of what was terrorizing squirrels earlier. Calling its parent, actually. That was the adult Gymnotine or African Harrier hawk that we had earlier, who I was going to try and catch on camera. This is the juvenile, and I'm starting to think that it's time that the juvenile leaves because of the behavior that we've noticed over the last few days. I've seen them further and further away from the nest site, and it could be that, well, mom or dad is going to leave him be eventually. Calling the parent now, and the parent's gone.
Oh, I missed him. I'm concentrating.
Yeah, you're concentrating on. In any case, he flew behind us. Followed the adult. Alright, I think we're going to cross over to Scott shortly. There was a giraffe here somewhere. Unfortunately, he seems to maybe have moved off, but I hope we can find him again sometime soon. Sorry, Dove. Have done so.
Get the next ones coming through, wildebeest. Welcome back, and apparently Marc's also just been sharing some great visuals of elephants with you, and we've also gotten luck here. It's a wonderful herd, and we're quite lucky because the vegetation is thick, but they are all just beginning to stream past us. So we've got very fortunate with where we've managed to put the vehicle, and I'm just seeing more and more elephants appearing from all different angles in this thick vegetation. Now, as VM pans back across, you'll notice there's that very cute little baby seen on the Gari Dam wall by the guests. Not sure exactly what time, but it was this afternoon. Wildebeest, I don't know what to do. There's such good angles all over here. Oh, we nearly got catapulted by this tree that she's feeding on, but isn't this going to be a unique angle? We can see into her mouth. Incredible. So this is an angle that we very seldom get to share with you, and isn't that very interesting? Well done, VM. And it's one of those sightings where literally poor old VM doesn't know where to point the camera. There is a lot going on here, and that's almost perfect that she's finished her show, because there's more action, and I'm guessing it's to the right at the moment, VM, the best spot. That's where the small calf is, or the smallest calf that we've seen. nestled there between, in all likelihood, her mother closest to us, and it looks like an older brother potentially on the other side. Oh, and evidently she's got an itchy eye. Just going to try and turn the vehicle ever so slightly. There's an incredibly big and beautiful cow that Liam should now be able to get a good shot of. She's so big that when she was arriving and I could only make out small parts of her body through the thick vegetation, I thought it could even be a bull. But sadly, she has now disappeared behind some more thick vegetation. But you might get an idea of what I meant. Oh, here comes the baby. Is it going to come and give us a hello? Or will it just give us one from there? Take this opportunity now to do one more vehicle reposition. Isn't she an impressive female? Really big tusks, and even her body and head are extra large, so good that she's passing on these wonderful genes of hers to future generations. You may be able to notice on her left tusk, as she lifts up her trunk, she does have a very prominent notch when the angle is right. Oh no, that's just because it's broken off there. But with elephants you can tell if they're left-handed or right-handed, or rather left-tusked or right-tusked. They do have preferences, and oh, that's a great shot, Liam. That is making the most of your opportunity right there, and it's almost as if they've planned their exit into that vegetation. But you can tell which tusk is the dominant one, which gets used most, because it's most often a lot more worn. So that is something to bear in mind. Just like us humans that have preferences of which side of the body to use, so do the elephants. Oh, hello. I'd love to know what she thinks of the smell she's processing as she lifts up that little trunk of hers. Oh, the show's not over yet. She's giving us one last little parade. Great work, Liam. Well, we will just enjoy these last few moments with them and let them continue on their afternoon browsing. It is quite thick here, and we just got extremely lucky with the area that they've moved through that allowed us some great views of them. Okay, well, that really was a magical sighting, and they were completely relaxed with us The most attention we got, I think, was from that youngster who would just sniff us. The others were completely relaxed. And it's always a lot more enjoyable when you know that they are completely relaxed, because then we too relax, because they can be an animal that gets you on edge for obvious reasons. I am midway along Leadwood Road. What have you got there, Andrew? Sorry, Craig, what's been located there? Okay, copy that. 1 second, folks. And Nikki, can you ask Marc if he's going to follow up on Kunyuma at Treehouse? Negative, don't copy him. He's been located at Treehouse Dam. I'm on Leadwood Road, so I don't know who's closer between myself or Marc. Copy, perfect. Well done, Vim. Again, he is making the most of the situation. I stopped there without any thoughts of poor old Vim and what he was going to do with the camera while I was on the radio, but it was a necessary discussion that I've had, and now there's a plan in place, and there have been reports of Kunyuma heading towards Treehouse Dam from one of our neighbouring properties, so Marc's going to go across there and see if he gets lucky. So that's great prospects. Great prospects. Well, I'm glad to hear Nikki's just relayed that some of you have got some great screenshots of the elephant's mouth, and wasn't that a unique angle? So, very grateful that Via managed to swivel around and capture that as swiftly as he did, because there was so much going on there, and it's, I guess, a cameraman's worst nightmare, because he's so focused on what he's doing, and then he's getting commands to look left, look right, go here, go there. Anyway, it's certainly not a serious problem, but it is something to bear in mind for the old cameraman. So we've had no luck finding Quarantine, which is Kunyuma's brother. So Marc's going to follow up on Kunyuma, the one brother, and we've been searching for the other brother with no luck as of yet. But thankfully there's quite a few vehicles moving on the Juma property this afternoon. It does ebb and flow depending on how busy the lodges are that have access to this property. So we've got a lot of other game drive vehicles, which means more eyes and ears to search for game. So I'm hoping we're going to have a productive afternoon. And it's already been great, I guess. The baboons, who seldom appear on our show, and was happy to see their tracks on the property as I drove out for this afternoon's drive, and it didn't take Marc long to track them down, so great to have an unusual visitor. And then 2 different Ellie sightings already, and we've hardly been going for very long. Also reports that a leopard was seen on the Kunyuma Dam wall, so I'm not sure if the Zoomy managed to capture that, but apparently the guests did see a leopard. It was sometime this afternoon, I'm not sure of the exact time, sadly. But we might head over there and have a look around. Just got a... what's that?
Warthog.
Oh, nice. Liam's just spotted some warthogs. We'll try and back up and give them some space, because they can be a little bit skittish, especially when they're in vegetation that's taller than themselves, which is what we've got going on here. Well spotted, Liam. Well, I would like to know whether that is a male or a female, and I was hoping it wasn't going to turn around and show its rear, but it did a little bit, so you got lucky. But was that a male or a female warthog? And try and just remember what you saw from the face, and you can give Nikki your answers at questions@wildearth.tv, and if you didn't know, that's also a great way to send questions through to us, and then Nikki in the final control will relay them to me. And another medium to do that on is to hashtag Safari Live on Twitter. So I've just got a question through from Steve, and Steve is interested to know my thoughts on the fact that we habituate the animals and get them used to the vehicles and used to humans. Is that not putting them in danger with poachers? And yes, to a degree, the fact that they are becoming used to humans would not aid in a scenario where they come across poachers. But the majority of poachers will be poaching on foot and not driving around in a vehicle. It makes far too much noise in a vehicle, and they are far too detectable. And there's only so much habituation you can give to animals in terms of walking exposure. They will always treat us very differently on foot than when we're in a vehicle. So I don't think we are impacting negatively, and the impact of cancelling all tourism, safari tourism, to prevent animals getting habituated to people and therefore not being scared of poachers would be far more detrimental to the animals than the fact that they may come across a poacher and may not be scared of it. The revenue generated by all the safari camps that are habituating these animals helps hugely to safeguard and protect these animals. So that is my thoughts on that, Steve, but you do have a valid point, but I don't think the effects would work if we didn't habituate, would work in the animals' favours if we did not habituate them and could not show them to so many people. We pay hundreds of dollars, if not thousands, to come and see them. So if we couldn't see them, they wouldn't be earning any income to help protect and preserve these wild areas that they live in. And I I think rather through education, we could use education to try and curb poaching, because I don't think by stopping game drives there's going to be any less of a demand for animals that are poached, for whatever reason they may be poached. As I looked down, there was a male leopard track glistening perfectly in the sunlight, so what a pleasant surprise. Excuse me. There's also a lot of hyena tracks here. Okay, so Jessica and Raisa, well done to the two of you. You both got the warthog right, and I'm sure many others. It was a female, and you could tell, yes, her tusks were quite small and not as impressive as a male's would have been, but more importantly, she only had two small wart-like protrusions growing out the side of her face. The males will have two sets, so she's only got one and he's got two, so he'll have four protrusions out of each cheek, where she will only have two. Now I wonder who this male leopard is. Interesting. It's certainly not Mvula, because Mvula's tracks were followed this morning all the way from the west of our property, where we first found them, and then Aubrey thankfully finished the job and managed to seal the deal. Anyway, we'll continue, and I'm sure it will continue down this road. Come on. Where are those little footprints of yours? Looks like a large male. I wouldn't say it's quarantine. But I, for some reason, am now covered in spider webs, which is distracting me, and I couldn't see his tracks continuing down here. Sorry, Aubrey, can you confirm that you've located there? Aubrey for Scott. Confirm you've located Karula there at the Jackalberry off Central. Okay, copy, and can you go at the location, please? Okay, copy, thanks. Go ahead, Marc. Mvula on the Buffalo's a fire break. Yeah, I think so. Would you mind if we linked across to you? Okay, no problem. Take your time. I'm actually going to go and rather have a look around Vuyatela Dam. I'm worried he's going to cross straight over the boundary there. Okay, well, again, there's been some conversations that have need to be had, and Mvula has been located, but I fear that he's not far from here, but we'd have to race to get there because he's right on our boundary. But we're going to carry on this slowly. We won't race there, but let's carry on there, and we can come back if he does cross over the boundary, and then come and have a look at what else is going on. Possibly even head down to the hyena den sites. Sorry, next time. Had my radio volume down for you. Okay, folks, so like I say, we're probably only 5 minutes away from Mvula. He's such an impressive leopard, and we don't get to see him very often, so we are going to try and go and have a quick sneak at him. I am concerned, however, that he may well cross over our northern boundary, which he's very, very close to. Anyway, it sounds like he may have been stalking something as well, which is another reason why I think it is worth getting there sooner rather than later. So we will continue on and hopefully get to see some action. In the 5 months that we've been filming, only 5 kills have been documented. So we need to try and up that stats a little bit, and it may just happen now. Affirmative. And just to recap and let everyone know what's going on if you've joined recently, we are on the way to go and see a big male leopard, a big dominant male, and he's actually the father, in all likelihood the father of the other leopard that Marc's looking for on the other end of the property. So some interesting dynamics, and really wonderful the way that here in the Sabi Sands you do get to know animals intimately, and there is so much history on them passed on from guides over the years that it's incredible how much is known about these animals. Question through from Maureen in the UK, and it's very applicable as I am driving about as fast as we will drive out here. And Maureen's interested to know if there's ever any accidents in the reserve. And none that I've heard of in all my time in the Sabi Sands. The speed limit here is 40 kilometers an hour, I think, and as long as you are aware of your surroundings, it's very we're not going very fast. It may appear like we're going quickly, but we're not. Probably the maximum we've been going is about 20 or 30 kilometers an hour. So very few accidents. In some of the bigger reserves where people can drive themselves and don't obey the speed limits, well, yes, of course, accidents do happen. Can I join you guys? I'm just coming from Chitakatla and west on Buffelshoek. Copy, thanks. So, I'm not sure exactly where Aubrey is, but we're looking for a big jackalberry tree, and I know what that looks like. So somewhere close to the big jackalberry we'll find Aubrey, and somewhere next to Aubrey hopefully we'll find Mvula. So Aubrey's been on fire this afternoon. He's found him twice already. No, I've just seen a vehicle, but I'm not sure if it's Aubrey. Yeah, that looks like him. Okay. Wonderful. I've just got a visual of him for the first time. He's on the move, and if we just get into position, we might get some great shots of him. Where did he go now? He was somewhere at about 2 o'clock, heading towards us though, last I saw. There he is. You got him? Coming through the gap from 3 to 2. Well done, VM. Beautiful. Well, I wasn't expecting to see him again after we had the last glimpse of him this morning. He Thanks very much, Aubrey, and well done again. Oh, sorry, all there? Yeah. Where did he go? I can't see where he's disappeared to, but he was right here just a second ago and should pop out. At any moment, if he continues on his original path, which they do change from time to time. And we must enjoy every second we do share with him, because he is heading towards, well, he's running parallel with our northern boundary at the moment, but he could click over at any stage.
There he is.
I think I'm just going to move forward last time. Sorry, man. Now, we've just got a question through from Grace asking what I mean by boundaries, and it's merely roads that are boundaries, and the roads markate different properties which various landowners own, but they have opened all of the fences to create a more natural ecosystem. If they all had their own tiny little patch fenced in, it would require so much management of the animals that it's not worth it. And the boundary roads are often long and straight roads, as that's how the properties have been chopped up for ease purposes, which makes sense. This is beautiful. Well done, VM. So it's merely traversing agreements, Grace, that allow us to traverse certain properties. I wonder what he can smell. He's very hungry. Even this morning you could see he hasn't had a meal for a few days. So I think he's really focused on trying to fill this belly of his.
Do you have a visual of him?
Negative. But I believe he is just behind these bushes with the round leaves at kind of 1 o'clock. There he comes, just from left to right. To the right of those, yeah. Perfect habitat for him to be hunting in. There's a lot of cover. Which would allow for some great stalking opportunities. Beautiful. Now, for those of you who were on board this morning and I was speaking about the dewlap, these side profile shots, you'll notice that big flap of skin dangling under his chin, sign of a beautiful big male, and that even extends down onto his chest and will continue to get bigger as he gets older. Look at this. This is awesome. If Marc's ready, we can cut across to him now. Where's he gone now? Still got him there, Vian?
Yeah, it's at 11.
Okay. So he's apparently following the scent of some warthogs, and that's a message I've just got through from Aubrey. So we don't want to get too close and chase anything away. The great thing about him hunting warthog is that if he does catch one, even if we aren't nearby, we'll hear about it, because warthogs typically squeal very loudly when they are caught, and that would lead us into him. Folks, well, we're going to stay here with Mvula and try and give him as much space as he needs for this hunting, but let's cut across to Marc and see what he's up to.
Maybe. Welcome back, everybody. Well, from one cat to another, from father to son, and just over my head I see that little twitch in his tail. I'm not going to tell you who it is, unless you know already. And I've been trying to run parallel with him. He's walking south, and right now I'm going to just take a chance, try and get back to the road, and hopefully we'll pick him up again. But son of Mvula, watch it. I don't know, it looks like he might have been watching something. I saw that twitch in his little tail there, the tip of his tail. He might come out onto the road. I hope he does. And lo and behold. See now, he's scanning ahead to see what there might be. Hello. Just a glance back in our direction. I think there's something that he's keeping an eye on. He's not going into stalk mode yet, but he's certainly aware of something up ahead. I don't know if leopards really know that the tip of their tail has got a brain of its own.
There are impala in front of it.
Are they?
On the road.
Ah, I see now. There's a young impala ram. Must be maybe a little bachelor herd into stalk mode. Don't be silly, boy. You're right out in the open. He dare not move. But if he moves that tail, that impala's going to see it. Notice how, as the impala looks away, he stalks a little bit closer. Keep that tail still, for goodness sake. And what does he do? Sits in a spot of sunshine and swishes his tail around like, I wasn't stalking you, I'm just here. Fantastic, absolutely fantastic. So since he's been found out, he gets up and he says, oh well, there's no point in doing anything here now, because where's my feather? And we might lose him.
Hope you don't.
And now, as you can see, I don't know if you can see that, it's a little bit far away, but now that the impala are alarming and they're actually snorting at him, they get so bold as actually to run after him and to try and dog him, to try and, well, emphasize the point that they see him and he has no chance whatsoever of hunting them. We're actually heading towards a tree where he had an impala, and I wouldn't be surprised if one of these rams. Let's just listen to that for a second. This is a bachelor herd. We see quite quite often. And now I better catch up with him. Oh, sorry, spider. We've seen him in this tree with an impala, and it was a young ram if I'm not mistaken, and it is possibly a ram from this very same herd. That's very Marula tree. Oh.
Welcome back, and shame Nicky's having a tough time in final control deciding who to bounce between, but here's Mvula, and what a beautiful view as he walks past our vehicle again. He's slinking in and out of our property, so thankfully when you just saw him now, we saw him coming back onto our property a few seconds ago. He went straight off, and now he's come straight back on, so really great prospects, and I'm going to keep on trying to stay with them for as long as we can. As soon as I fix my little earpiece connector here. There we go. And he's still looking obviously intently for these warthog that he saw earlier. So it is quite thick though, these areas he's looking in. We'll let this other vehicle in ahead of us because we have been here longer than anyone else here, and we've just had a great view of him walk straight past us, so we will take our time, and Mickey will possibly be doing a lot of unexpected chopping between the two vehicles depending on who's got the greatest shot, so just bear that in mind. Next, maybe back to Marc. It'll take me a while to get into another decent spot. We're going to cut back to Marc, folks.
Copy, thanks. Now I want you to spot a leopard. Spot a spot from where we are right now. I don't want to push him too much, but after that probably had a little bit of an adrenaline rush in his stalking and trying to remain unnoticed, and I think his intent was there. I certainly think that he could have made a go of it if the older rams hadn't seen him. He didn't bank on the road curving round, and him being so visible in the middle of the road when he got close to that younger ram. So, well, it helps to have other eyes and ears around when you've got your head in the grasses, no doubt. But now he has taken to ground, and he's got his head in the grass, cleaning and grooming. And I'm going to see if I can get into a better position. We've got a lovely late afternoon light, and in fact with the colours of the bushveld right now, this early turning of the leaves and the browning of the grasses, it's almost, this late afternoon sunlight is leopard sunlight. It's exactly what we want, but we need to let him relax a little bit, and then I can turn around, maybe get a better position. It is on the back end of a little termite mound that might obscure us, but I'm going to see what I can do. Yes, there's a good one. The viewers are saying that was his April Fool's joke to the impala. Stalking you, and then ha, April Fool. Good morning, young leopard. Good afternoon. Don't know when you woke up. But that was classic. I know that there are a lot of viewers that would hate to see a kill. For me personally, it's not a very nice thing to watch, but I do accept it. I live in breeze what I do. In fact, I'm looking forward to the next few days. I'm going on leave tomorrow. I'm going to miss you all for a week. And you know what? I get to do one of the most amazing things on the planet for the next few days. I get to drive my Land Rover around a game reserve and look at animals. So I'm going to be having fun with my Ellies back home. But it is just a wonderful thing to be able to do. And we're very privileged to be able to do so. A lot of viewers not really keen on seeing that harsh side of nature. And it's still interesting to see the process in action, to see how it really works. And of course, the wonderful thing about all of the predators that we do see is that they're not really that efficient. They can't be. They have to fail sometimes. It's the law of hunting, really. It wouldn't really work if every time they tried to catch something they would be successful. So they have a relatively low success rate. And it's just wonderful to see the behavior. Now, young cats, whether they're lion, leopard or cheetah, they are often a little bit too impatient or a little bit too eager. And he was doing well up to a point. He was doing very, very well, because he was freezing as soon as that impala looked up. But he didn't really count on, because he was concentrating so intently on that one individual, I don't think he really saw the rest of the bachelor herd that were probably watching him from a few yards back already. But I've seen on so many occasions how young lion will chase an animal away because they can't wait for mum to strike and they think that they can jump the gun. Or young cheetah who think they know what they're doing. But leopard, it's a little bit different because they've got to learn on their own. They don't have that hunting school like the cheetah do, and they don't have that cooperative clique or that teamwork of a pride of lion. And I don't know how many times I've seen a leopard mess up its kill because its tail twitches too much. The interesting thing is that the impala will forget about him, probably. As far as they're concerned, he's moved off. They'll probably go back to their grazing. They might be a little bit more alert than they were going into the evening. There's going to be a pretty bright moon tonight. We're getting so much closer. We're only, 2 or 3 days away from full. Beautiful clear blue skies around us. So it's going to be a lovely bright night. Whether that gives an advantage to the predator or the prey is debatable, because it all depends on the predator and the prey. Sorry, make too much noise drinking. What a drongo. I think it was a drongo making funny noises. He's looked up to have a look at that. Nikki just made a very nice observation of how much, even on camera, you can tell a little bit of the size difference between the cats, between him and Mvula. And not very often we manage to get both of them on camera together, that we can switch between the two. I missed that shot when he was looking straight at me. Time to move again, boy, because I'm talking too much. Copy that. Ryan, come in. What's your position? Okay, copied. Are you coming to Kunyuma? Okay, we've turned off east of Weavers. There's an old track from an old bumper in a marula tree. You'll probably see my tracks heading off east of Weavers. No, negative. We way east of Weaver's Nest. Okay, copied.
Sounds like something's coming in.
Something like a vehicle.
Like animal movement. Sounds like
No, he is listening to something.
there's monkeys or something.
No problem.
Welcome back, and the luck continues. And I'm going to stop just about here because we're about to get some great views of him again. Will he jump up into the bush for us? Come on, go for it. Jump up into it. They often do really jump up on their hind legs and rub themselves in that bush to get the scent. But not this time. Well, not yet. Craig, best access is on Buffalo's Hook East, quite close to the break. Affirmative. There we go. There he did it. So eventually he performed for us, and it wasn't that great. Now I'm hoping he's going to continue on down to Buffalo's Hook Dam, and who knows what may happen down there. He's busy just walking past that vehicle there, and that's going to be a great shot.
Another big male.
So I'm just going to make space for Craig quickly. what I'm even thinking of doing, oh no, we won't risk that. Not with the way it's been moving around, but I was saying possibly to risk driving all the way around on another road. Afternoon, Craig, how are you doing? Afternoon, everyone. Welcome back. He's just heading straight down the road, but he's been milling up and down, backwards, forwards. So it's a lottery as to what will happen.
Doing what he does best, though.
Exactly. How was your break? Marc's okay. Okay, folks, well, it sounds like Marc's got a better view than us at the moment, so we're going to cut back to him and we'll catch up with you a little bit later.
Welcome back, all. And for now, he's getting a bit of the nods. And, well, there we go. Flat cat. While he's flat cat, I think we have someone else moving in to view him, and I just want to move back a little bit, give him a bit more space, because he's in a little bowl around this termite mound. It's okay, dude, you can just go to sleep. We'll just have to live with that for now, because I don't want to disturb him too much. Hello, Debbie. Very interesting question from Debbie in Lakewood, New Jersey. What is the evolutionary advantage of the twitching tail? Well, I'll tell you what the evolutionary disadvantage is, which we've just seen, in that it gives them away. It's body language, Debbie. A twitching tail, I would probably take a while to be able to give you a better answer on evolutionary advantage. It's but what we do know, what I can tell you, is that the markings on the tail, coupled with the markings behind the ear and the markings on the face, are all part of a silent language between individuals, or rather, a body language that individuals are able to read without the necessity for vocalizing or a verbal language. And although they might be solitary hunters, there is still a fair amount of body language that a leopard will give off during a hunt or during any behavior, anything that it is doing. Shame I got a dwarf gecko on the bonnet. Must have brushed off of a tree. Sorry, I was distracted. For younger animals, it does tend to get them into trouble sometimes, because they have to learn how to hunt and they have to learn how to be dead still from nose to the tip of their tail. And very, very often, the twitching of the tail is there, I guess, through excitement or anticipation, and very, very often because of the markings on the tail being white. It's normally a female leopard will be able to signal to her cubs to stay put without even having to verbally mention anything to them. That just by the position of her ears and the movement of her tail, she's able to tell her cubs to stay put for her to go and hunt somewhere if she's with them and she needs to hunt. I don't know, it'll take a while to sort of mull through what the evolutionary advantage of it would be. I guess there has to be some, otherwise it probably would have become redundant. But it is certainly all got to do with flag signaling and communication between individuals. I was just thinking before, while you were still with Scott and Mvula, I was just thinking that it might be somewhat confusing for some viewers in that we are with two leopards. Very seldom we have this opportunity to switch from one camera to the other when we've got a leopard on both cameras. And well, my name is Marc and I'm with Kunyuma. Scott is up on Buffalo's cut line up there on the boundary with Mvula. Go right. Copy, thanks. Sounds like the entire troop of baboon have actually made their way back to the dam. Someone from... Joe, you're welcome, Ryan. Just behind the Shaduli on my right. It's quite amazing seeing the look on people's faces, because I think there is anticipation when they're coming into a sighting and they can't quite see it yet, especially because he was lying down, he was flat, so it wasn't really evident. But as soon as he sat up, it was wonderful to see that recognition on people's faces when they saw him for the first time. Kind of renews the energy and renews the joy of why we do what we do. I moved back where we are now, although we're sort of seeing him from the back. He might roll over, we might be lucky. So I just wanted to give guests the opportunity of great camera shots. It's great that he's letting us come in to view him like this. He does get a little bit stroppy from time to time, this little boy. He can get to a point where he doesn't tolerate the vehicles very much. He's not as tolerant as his sibling, Quarantine. Thank you, little boy. He heard me, turned around. Copy that. Let me just go a little forward, get this teak out of our way. Get the twitching tail back into camera view. And I know it can be a little confusing, but we are going to switch to Scott with this one's father, Mvula, and I'll see you back in a little while.
come back, and I hope my plan's going to work. We've just got into position in front of a termite mound, and I'm almost certain he's going to creep up and peek his head over it. Come on. This is potentially going to be a great shot. Where is he? There he comes. Beautiful. So, you'll notice he's a lot larger than his son Kunyuma, who would lack that very thick flap of skin below the throat, and also his ears are notched. His face tells a story, whereas Kunyuma's son is still fairly flawless. Go ahead, Benny. I'm not too sure. Aubrey said he was chasing some animal. I'm not sure what it was. I think it was warthog. So possibly that. But interestingly, I did see tracks of another large male heading north on Drakensberg Road from Central. Yeah, affirmative. It'll be interesting. I'm still with him, so I'll keep you updated if he comes across anything. Well, wasn't that a great view? And we got lucky again. Let's see what will happen if we continue. I'm not sure where we are at the moment. We could decide to head to Buffelshoek Dam, but I think we're a little bit further east of that now. Beautiful, this area, and really lucky to be following them through it because it's not too thick, so we've got these little avenues that we can find to loop ahead of him, and also this way, if there is any game around, we'd be able to see it and stop before chasing it away. So, ooh, now here's a serious termite mound. Is he going to go up this one? Let's try and get into position and wait and see. Like it. Just stay here to confirm. Still going over here. Okay. Well, what an afternoon it is. Following a father and one of his sons. VM spotted him. Just trying to think where we should wait. Just going to go a tiny bit further forward. Apologies for the wait, but we are going to get a great view again. We just need to be patient. Just got a question from Julia in Houston. Good afternoon, Julia, and welcome. Julia is interested to know whether the male scent marking also smells like that of the female, and that is a smell like buttered popcorn, believe it or not. And yes, both male and female have the same sweet buttered popcorn smelling scent mark. Quite bizarre, but it is the case, Julia. Now, Lisa's interested to know how far Kunyuma and Mvula are away from one another now, and they're basically on opposite corners of the property. We're in the northeastern corner and Marc's in the southwestern corner. So they're very far away from one another at the moment. And I'm not even sure exactly where we are now, but we are far away from Kunyuma, that's for certain. Just got a question through from Sherry. Afternoon, Sherry, and welcome. Sherry's interested to know whether Kunyuma and Mvula would ever come to blows, and not up until now, no, they haven't, but it could well at some point happen, because Mvula may become less and less tolerant of his sons, which he would be kind of obliged to do, because that way it prevents them mating with their sister or their mothers. So it could come to a point where they do fight, but up until now they haven't fought, and actually been seen interacting fairly recently. I think there was some footage of from October last year that some people kindly provided me with today, of him relaxing with quarantine. So that's just 6-7 months ago, but we haven't seen them together much since then, or at all since we've been filming. It would be certainly interesting to see what happens now, because it has been months since they have met that anyone's seen. Okay, it looks like we are approaching Cheetah Cut Line on our eastern boundary, so let's see what he decides to do. I did have tracks of another large male coming into this area, and wouldn't it be interesting to see a clash between male leopards? It's something I've never seen, and something that gets very rarely documented. But who knows? That could happen this afternoon. And only by staying with them will we ever be able to find out. So that is what we shall do. Sorry, Liam. Liam's trying his best to show you as much of Mvula as possible, but it is difficult when I'm driving. We will be popping out into an open clearing now, so depending on what he does, if he stays heading south on it, we're going to get some great views. If he crosses over to the east, we will not be able to follow him. But for now, let's see if he doesn't go up this termite mound. Hold on. Oh, this is absolutely beautiful. And he's just decided to lie down so close to us, really indicating how relaxed he is with our presence. And aren't we so fortunate to be viewing such a naturally shy and elusive animal that is now allowing us to see so much of what it does. And so few people get to see this, get to follow leopards, see them move like we have got to see him move this afternoon. So we should all consider ourselves very lucky to be experiencing this. Not to mention that Marc's with his son on the other camera. I mean, can you believe it? Stations Mvula is now on Cheetah Cut Line. I think close to Gwari Road, but I'm not entirely sure. Well, he has been on the move for quite a while now, and before we even got to him he was on the move, so he's certainly entitled to a break. And I wonder what he's going to get up to next. I'm just going to try and creep forward a little bit. I don't know if you can do anything with what's going on behind there. But what an incredible cat, and I'm so happy that you are now being able to, by switching between this old dominant male and one of his sons, you can really notice the size difference between them. And I wonder what Marc and Kunyuma are up to. I'm sure Nikki will give me an update shortly. Okay, well, you'll be glad to know that thankfully Kunyuma is not doing anything serious and he's fast asleep, so you're not missing out on anything there. He's fast asleep in the grass, and it appears that Mvula is providing a little bit more of a show at this stage. And as Vim zooms out, you'll notice that we're experiencing a absolutely beautiful, beautiful evening here. And well done, Vim, for that great camera work. And he's up again. Is he staying on the road, VM?
Yeah.
Staying on the road. Okay. Oh, this is beautiful. Now what we're going to do is, we're just going to loop ahead quickly, and that way be able to reverse down in front of him, a trick that I'm sure of you are now aware of, and it's one that I love doing. What we'll do also to start with is maybe just coast alongside him for a while. This is an opportunity that we don't often get. Quite smooth, unobstructed road running parallel to another road, and thus being able to give you the impression that you're pacing alongside this leopard on his evening patrol here. And what an evening it is, and so glad that BM did show you that shot of the sunset ever so briefly before Mvula decided to wake up and continue with his business. Well, if we're very, very lucky, we may even hear him vocalize. It's a loud, rasping sound, almost like somebody sawing through wood. And that would be the cherry on top of the cake. Just going to loop ahead now and get onto the road. I'm not sure what got his attention there. He stopped quite abruptly and then continued to smell one of those bushes. So it could be that there's another male in the area, or who knows, maybe a female in season that he's trying to track down. But he certainly is moving with purpose, and we're about to have another incredible view of him walk past us. I hope I got one half decent picture out of all of those. And here he comes, just meters from us, and it looks like this may be the last visuals we have of him. He's veering off down a track where we cannot go, but what a beautiful finishing it is going to be to the sighting, watching him drift out to the east. And again, he continues to scent Marc now. Watching him. Okay. You're not done with us yet. Fair enough. We don't mind extending the show a little bit for you. We thought you were going to carry on and disappear down the road there and be days before we see you again, but no. He's laid down to show us how a leopard hunts flies. That appears to be what he's trying to do. So even though he hasn't come across any other leopards or hasn't caught any prey, at least he's showed us how a leopard goes about dealing with flies. And now he continues. Well, we have just about covered every angle you could want to, We've had every view imaginable this afternoon, and most of which beautiful golden sunlight bathed in. So well done to VM. He also did some great work on camera. Well, it looks like we're going to see him do one last scent mark before he continues down that road. Well, what a way to watch him finish this afternoon's sighting, just disappearing down that long road. And what can I say, it's been an absolutely incredible sighting, the longest sighting by far that I've ever had with Mvula, and by far the best. So for me, it's the number one Mvula sighting I've had so far, and I loved every second of it, and I hope you did too. Now, the good news is, even though one leopard is gone, Marc is still with another leopard. So we're going to cut across to Marc and see what Kunyuma's been up to for the last while.
Well, I caught snippets over the radio of what you've been seeing, and Mvula giving you a bit of entertainment. So finally Scott has sadly had to say goodbye to Mvula as he heads east into Torchwood. And well, just to show you what his son is doing, a little bit of a twitch of the tail in the grasses, but he's sleeping, so it's probably dreaming. And I'm glad to hear that I'm not the only one that gets bugged by these little flies. I know the cats do too. And that must have been quite comical to watch him trying to snap at flies. Fortunately, not much happening here in the way of insects. But I did hear, I'm going to keep quiet for a little bit, I did hear a few seconds ago some elephant in the distance. So it could be a little bit of the chorus that we're going to hear as the daytime ends, at the moon rising. Sun unfortunately has set already. We've almost got a wintry sunset this evening because there isn't a cloud in the sky. It's quite typical of our dry season months. Sunset merely changing colour through the haze of dust and smog that you get in low down on the horizon. It'll be a beautiful night tonight, actually, crisp and clear. We're going to try and stay with him if he starts moving, but if it looks like he's going to get into sort of any hunting mode, I think we'll leave him be. Go ahead. Doug. Hello, Doug. Question about leopards and female leopards. If the females don't move far from their natal territory, is there a potential for the fathers to mate with them? Interesting question. Because I think we've even experienced that before, that yes, it is always a possibility, and invariably one finds that female leopards tend to take up territory either within or on the edges of their mother's territory. They seldom do move far. Now he's looking quite slim. I don't know when. We haven't seen him for a while, so I don't know what his last kill was, or where it was, when it was, but judging by his concentration on the impala earlier, I'm pretty sure that he might move on to try and hunt in a little while. We'll see if we can keep up with him if he does, but for the time being we're going to wait until he wakes up. Bye everybody, enjoy. Cheers Ryan. Age difference between Kunyuma and Mvula. I think a couple of questions that have come in regarding age and lifespans. Well, he is about 2.5 and his father is about 10, so let's say maybe 7.5 years difference. Average lifespan, I've known male leopards to reach 11 or 12. I think by that stage they're getting to be rather tattered and torn and pretty old. We have noticed that there are the odd females that have reached much. Wow, jewel beetle, giant jewel beetle. Just flew by. We don't see many of them anymore. They're a dying breed. And some bats coming out. But rather unique circumstances for leopards to reach that kind of age. For a male though, I would imagine not as long as a female. So maybe 10 to 12 on average for an adult male leopard. Mvula is probably in his prime right now. He's still got a good few years ahead of him. But there is a fairly large population of adult male, or rather sub-adult, well, just leopard in general, and so the chances of being challenged are greater in a population that is as dense as it is up here in the northern Sabi Sand. If we look at Shadow, for example, who's Karula's daughter, she is now in the territory of Tingana, but she's quite an old cat. Well, not old cat, but she's older than all of her other siblings. She's one of Karula's first cubs. Her sister, on the other hand, is in Mvula's territory, but Mvula wasn't her father. Oh, the Battle flying home. Betty's going to Leadwood Road. Now, most likely one of the reasons why he's decided to go to ground and lie down the way that he has is because he did make an attempt with impala their alarm calls were pretty intense, and I guess he wants everything to calm down and forget the fact that there were alarm calls before he moves again. Once he'd been seen and once there are alarm calls, it makes everything a lot more alert, a lot more aware of the presence of a predator. And if the noise dies down, especially with the changes of diurnal and nocturnal coming about right now, things do change a little bit. There's a greater chance of him being successful if he stays hidden for a while. And he certainly found a spot that's just that. There's not really much that's going to likely move through this part of the world. Right now, with the onset of darkness, impala are going to be seeking open areas. The only thing that are likely to be around here is steenbok and duiker, which of course are ideal prey items, maybe the odd scrub hare. What are going to take to their burrows. Very quiet evening. Who is that from, Nikki? Oh, Clancy. Hi, Clancy. How's Ohio treating you today? Hope your knee's getting better. Do I have a favorite leopard, or has Karula got a very special place in my heart? Well, I think Karula always will be. She's been the queen of Djuma for a while. Here we go. It's time for him to start becoming more aware of his surroundings. Karula is special. I'm starting to get a strong liking for these two boys in much the same way as I had for both Mishu and Induna, who were her second litter, the two boys that she had when I first got her. They were tiny, so I was luckily here right throughout their childhood, up until the point where they were leaving because her next litter came along, and I was very lucky to witness him interacting with his baby brother and sister and his father. And a couple of yawns, and then it's time to get up and toilet and continue his quest. We'll see if we can follow him, but if there's any sign of him hunting, I'm going to leave him be, because I don't want to disturb him. Chivinzi and Shavambalana were also special. Oh, was that elephant again? Oh, that's down near Twin Dams Road, just below the dam wall. So Clancy, I'd say that my favourite is probably Karula. Mvula is becoming a close. I never got to see Yambilo Yodan as much as I lived within his territory. I didn't get to see him that often. I saw him quite a lot though, but not as much as Karula and the boys. And also at home, one of my favourite leopards is a leopard at home, comes through camp. Big male leopard that lives around that part of the Timbavati and Umbabat. There's also a young female that lives there, and both of them come through past my house. Jeffrey in Texas wants to know, why do I think cats, especially domestic cats, well, I've mostly noticed it with them, why do they chatter their teeth? Why do they do that with their mouth when they're stalking? I'm sure a lot of you who have cats, you've seen your cat sitting on a windowsill looking at squirrels or birds, and the tail twitches and the whiskers twitch as they chatter. Well, one theory was that it's sort of enacting the death bite. It's anticipating getting their teeth around the throat of their prey. Why do I think they do that? In anticipation, I suppose. In anticipation of using those jaws to clamp around their prey. Why do you think, Jeffrey? Did you pick up that elephant call?
Mm-hmm.
Trumpet. Let's see it. Not too bad, is it? A little better. Not flooding him directly with light. A leopard in the grass. Hello, little boy. Uppsala. Hello, Eric. Eric from a town up in Sweden called Uppsala. Nice to hear from you, Eric. I have a friend up there who did his PhD on lion from Salou. I used to help him with his lion studies in Salou. He was at Uppsala University many years ago. Eric wants to know about these young males. Why are they still around and tolerated within the territory? They're still sub-adults, Eric. They're still too young. Although they're old enough to take care of themselves, they're just not old enough to challenge anyone else for a territory. Now, if there was area for them to move into that wasn't covered by territorial males that are older and more experienced than they are, they possibly could do so. There isn't really much place for them to move to right from here. They would have to move considerable distance. They'd be pushed over from Mvula. They'd push him, or rather he would push them further to the east into Kruger. I'm not too sure of what the dynamics are going into Kruger. Further west there are established territories of older males, including Tingana, who we've seen over at Arathusa. And then further south there are adult males down there that would probably also give them a hiding if they were to move there. So for the time being, for at least for the next 6 months or so, they will still be around here because they're not quite old enough and experienced enough to win a fight over territory or to defend themselves if they were to stumble into another male's territory. And for some unknown reason, these leopards are tolerated a lot longer within the parent's territory than perhaps in other regions, where maybe the populations of leopard are a lot more spread out. Look, the leopard populations obviously are determined to a large extent by the vegetation and the availability of prey species for them, and where there are fewer prey species, where the diversity isn't as huge, their territories have to be a lot bigger, as well as the habitat probably is a lot different. So there's so many factors that influence the dynamics of a leopard population, even locally, even though the Sabi sand, it might not be uniform throughout the Sabi sand in terms of how, or Kruger for that matter, how the leopard dynamics work. Well, this is how it works here, in this part of the Sabi sand, or this part of the Greater Kruger. Where are you going to go now, young boy? Because you are going to get up. No, it's not clean enough to go anyway. Interesting concept. Brenda in Pennsylvania. Oh, sorry, am I talking too loud again, young man? Brenda's asking if an older leopard was relocated to this area. Wanting to know my thoughts on that. Would he do well? I think he would battle. I can't imagine it being successful. Especially since there are already established leopard populations. Look, I have no doubt that a leopard moved into a new area will be able to fend for itself, and being the kind of hunter that leopards are, quite easily find food for itself. But with the population of leopards that we have here in this part of the Sabi sand, you can't just bring a leopard here and put it, especially an adult, well, even a youngster for that matter. It just wouldn't work. I hope we can catch up with him. I've got to turn around and find my way through the bush to see if we can follow him a little bit. But it might be time to just leave him be. Let him, let a monkey orange going through here. And oops. I think we'll leave him be. Take him too long. Can't be very far, but I really think with the noise that we're going to make, I'm going to leave him go. He is probably heading down towards. Pardon? Yeah, they just gone through there. It's just going to make too much noise. Yeah. See if he maybe climbs that termite mound. right on top. Quite typical. He's going to use this as a vantage point, and not necessarily to see things, but also to hear things as well. No. I think he's lying down now on the termite mound. So we can stick with him for a little bit with this beautiful light, almost moonlight. Doesn't look very comfortable. Oh, hello Mario. Up in the Netherlands. Nice to hear from you again. When are you coming back? I think Mario's coming back later this year to join Tara, if I'm not mistaken. There's a jumping spider on that leaf. That's gone. Little salticid. Mario asking about Mishu and Induna and Shivambalana. And as far as I know, Shivinzi, who was Shivambalana's sister, disappeared. I saw Shivinzi, I saw Shivambalana last, I'm getting confused whether it was last year. And when was I with Anne and MJ at Arathusa? No, Anne was at Thornybush. I was with MJ and Val at Arathusa. I think it could have been last year that I saw Shivambalana. I can hear elephants coming closer. I can hear some branches breaking. He's not really too concerned with it. But Mario, I don't know where they went. Shivambalana was up in Cheetah Plains area, which is somewhat east of Djuma, a little bit southeast of Djuma. In fact, that is the old Djuma Bush Lodge where Shivambalana seemed to end up. As far as I know, Mishu might have headed up towards Manyaleti. I don't know where Induna ended up. Haven't heard anything about those cats. Now, for those of you who are not sure who we're referring to Karula's previous male cubs. In much the same way that if we stayed here and we were to continue here, or for those people who will be visiting Djuma in the future, you're not likely to see him and his brother after a while, because they're going to eventually move off of this area, and hopefully Karula will raise some new cubs here. Hello, Angela in Boston. Angela's asking about the termites that build these magnificent columns, these magnificent cities. Angela wants to know what kind of termites we get. Well, this particular termite that builds these mounds, known as the pinnacle mound termite, so the group of termites known as macrotermes, and they are probably one of the biggest of the termites that we get here. We get a lot of other termite species, a lot of them much smaller, and there's only really one other termite that builds a visible mound. The rest of the termites either live underground or they live in dead wood. They don't really have such a large colony that they build a mound. But these pinnacle mound termites live in very, very large colonies. Oh, and they're not bugs, they're termites. But that's just something that, it's just my own way of saying things. Because Angela was saying must be super bugs that can do this. But yes, I know what you mean by saying a bug, because to a lot of people, bugs are everything. Everything with 6 or 8 legs is a bug. But I like to be a little bit particular, and well, termites are not bugs, because bugs are different kinds of insects that have different kind of lifestyles. Elephant, that was a little bit of a frustrated elephant sound. Almost tantrum-like. Like a younger elephant being reprimanded. Some people commenting on how he hasn't snarled at us at all today, because he's usually snarling. Well, I don't know, maybe it's just his mood. Also, maybe we've kept our distance. Maybe he's not really interested in us today. Maybe he's getting tired of baring his teeth and us not doing anything about it. But he seems preoccupied with other things. He hasn't really looked at us much at all. Nap time again. Is the moon behind leaves, or is it free for you, the camera? I mean, take it. What?
That's scary.
What? My noise. Oh, the elephant noise. They're far away, Jay. Yeah.
You I can deal with it.
Me, I can deal with. Getting closer to full. I think it'll be Saturday, a very special supposed blood moon rising special day.
And that's all we got, eh? There's just one little sticking.
I know, I was just thinking maybe there would be some leaves that you'd see it through leaves, but
Oh, cat's on the move.
you can shake it. Jupiter's now getting further away. The moon was 2 nights ago. The moon was right next to Jupiter. Oh, there he's getting up and moving.
I didn't last too long.
No, but he's just managed to find that one blade of grass to block his view. The moon and the leopard. Very special moments for us out here in Africa. To be sitting quietly, we've got the sound of elephants just to the northeast of us. I'm sure the herd that we saw, the group that we saw earlier this afternoon, don't seem to have moved very far if they're still more or less in the same place. One of the best things that we can actually do is leave him be sleeping like this, because how we treat him will determine how he behaves with us too, and in terms of that snarling, because I think a lot of times during the times of game drives possibly there's just maybe too much for him to bear with the vehicles. And I suppose this afternoon it's been fairly quiet for him. There's been Mvula, they've been lying up in Biffle's Hook. I think the Kahumas were up in Biffle's Hook. Oh, I can hear some leaves rustling. Is it you they're shouting at? Okay, copied. Yeah, I'm not far from you. I'm just a little bit more southwest. Scott's actually with those ellies that we can hear somewhere northeast of us. Far enough away. Unfortunately, we're not going to cross to him with the ellies. We don't put lights on ellies at night. But it sounds like he does have a little bit of a roadblock, and of course, well, at night we'd just leave ellies alone. I'm going to start preparing to turn myself around while he's napping. I can use a little bit of the rest of drive. It's going to go dark for a second when I put the lights off. We're still here. We're not going anywhere. Beautiful moonlight. Cool. Hello Rita in Joburg. Oh, hyena coming. We can't go anywhere. We're not going to go anywhere right now. We're going to stay here. There's a hyena coming in to see him. But I'm going to just switch this light off. For now. Right there. Rita's asking about the blood moon. I don't even know what a blood moon means. I just know that somebody said that Saturday's going to be a blood moon. Harvest moon, blood moon, hunter's moon. But Rita, we will still have our full moon as long as you don't have cloud. I don't know if we even have a name for an April full moon. Autumn. So he's watching the sound. I guess he can probably see this hyena. I can hear it moving around in the distance, but we can't see it again. Might come out into this little clearing around the termite mound. But that's going to put a little bit of a dampener on his activity tonight, because a hyena will probably dog him the whole night until he catches something and then possibly try and steal it. And he's going to have to find a way to sneak off somehow. I should actually put lights off for now. Can you see that for the child? Kind of in two minds what we need to do here. but certainly held his ground, got higher ground. Hyena sounds like it could be on its own. Probably just looking around to see if there's anything. Very interesting that. Did you catch that?
I did.
Mm.
I got a big fright though.
I also got a fright. I jumped in my seat.
Me too.
I'm supposed people might have jumped in front of their computers too. Sorry to make so much noise. But nice that he held his ground. Hyena obviously not needing or wanting a confrontation. Mostly sniffing around to see, well, if there's a cat here then maybe there's a kill too. And the hyena is more concerned with stealing something rather than just having a confrontation. So fortunately it seems to be ambling off from whence it came. He lay very, very still. The hyena didn't see him until it picked up his scent where he walked up the termite mound, and then the hyena followed his scent up the termite mound. But the hyena actually didn't know where he was. Only knew that there was something around here. Only knew there was a leopard nearby. Now, sounds like the baboon have settled down around Gowrie Dam for this evening, and evidently alarming. There was also talk of a leopard at the dam wall a few minutes ago, maybe on Gowrie Dam camera. I don't think there have been any vehicles crossing the dam or anywhere near the dam, but Scott is close, and Scott will be taking a look if he can see where it is. And look, now he's looking at me, now he's blaming me for that whole thing. It's not my fault, I'm just a bystander. But that, I think, is our cue to leave him be, because that could have well, I think worst comes to the worst, he would have ran. There's a marula tree in the back there. He would have probably run to the marula tree and scaled the tree. Best defense leopard has against the hyena. But I think having been alone and having stood his ground the way that he has, it's pretty amazing of him. I'm going to have to go back around this way, the way we came. Not quite now. Fallen marula branches. Lynn, hello Lynn, would a hyena go after a leopard? I want to leave him be. I would like to leave him with a without having to leave him walking or disturbing him while he's moving, and gives him the chance to, well, being free of vehicle pressure gives him a chance to do what leopards do. This is just going to be too much of a noise moving through this kind of vegetation with the leopard, especially when it appears that he does need to hunt. Wouldn't hyena go after a leopard? Yes, it would. I mean, this is not a hard and fast rule. As we saw now, there was clearly a confrontation. The hyena was not too concerned or didn't push the mate. If there was more than one hyena, the hyena would have been a lot bolder than that, and it might have tried something. But I think the fact that it was on its own, there's no need for a confrontation, because you see, being a predator, it's not worth the trouble having an injury, because an injury can hinder your hunting and your, well, just your abilities to survive. So without anything to really fight over, I suppose in a way interesting that the hyena just moved on. Might stay nearby just in case he does decide to hunt, and the hyena might be not close enough to actually hear the sound of a kill. But most certainly, given the chances, hyena, if circumstances were any different, quite possible that hyena would kill a leopard. Especially if there was more than one of them. It'd be nice if we can follow up on him tomorrow morning. He is in a fairly large block. It'd be easiest to see if we can find his tracks coming out of this area of bush that he's in, probably down onto Twin Dams Road, maybe even heading towards Gowrie Dam. Sounds like there was a leopard at Gowrie Dam. My guess is it's probably his brother, quarantine male, because Mvula has headed to the east. Thanks, Dave, in the UK. And Dave was saying that Dave is zooming at the moment for the Gowrie Dam camera, saying that the baboons are barking on the dam wall, making a lot of noise. Perhaps we can catch crossing the dam. But now what we need to know, if you can send a tweet or if you can send an email to Nikki, can you maybe tell us which direction it was going and where was it last seen? Because then I can relay that to Scott, or Nikki can relay that to Scott, and he can try and follow up on that little tidbit of information. It's great that you're telling us, but if we need, but it may be some specifics, like coming towards the camera or moving away from the camera, going to, you don't need to know north and south, just from the point of view of the camera, to the left, to the right of the dam, heading away across the dam wall or towards the camera. Good night, Kunyuma. Thank you for your time. Thanks, David. Camera side to this far side, so he was heading over to the east side, probably following his father's footsteps if it is him. Or maybe that is even Karula, who knows? She's the only other cat that is likely to be around the dam. Thanks everybody for all the info on the cat at the dam. It'll be interesting to have a third cat on camera this afternoon. But right now it'd be nice to find something small and interesting and nocturnal. I'm thinking maybe we should have a look around quarantine for genet or mongoose or something. think that's a good idea. I can do that. I hadn't realized time has passed us by so fast. It always seems to happen. But Scott is down at Gowrie Dam. He's going to be looking around the last few minutes of drive. So I'm going to say goodbye from me, Mark, and from Jason on camera.
Bye.
And bye from Wendy. Oh. If Brent's come back, or well, might not. Otherwise, I'll see you when I come back on the Timbavati, or otherwise I'll post some of my ellies from the Timbavati if I get any coming by my house, or I'll say hello from there. But from me, until I get back next week, I'm only away a few days. Until next week, have a wonderful full moon. Enjoy the weekend coming, and a very happy Easter. Also, of course, Chag Sameach over Passover for others, and well over that next bit of festive season. Well, festive, religious festivals. I'll see you in a little while. Love you lots. Take care, and bye bye.
Welcome back, and sounds like you've had an incredible time with Kunyuma. So 2 different male leopards really showing us a wonderful afternoon, and the fact that you got to see Kunyuma stand off with a hyena is something really special. We've raced across to Gowrie Dam, where apparently a leopard was seen just moments ago crossing the dam wall. It was seen on the waterhole camera, and to all of you who sent through that intelligence to us, thank you so much for taking your time to do that. Sadly, however, we have had no luck. We've checked both roads, that one runs west and one runs east from this point. Well, David the Zoomy just sent through some more information, and thanks so much for that information, David. He is busy controlling the waterhole camera as we speak, and he said we did go and check down in the right direction. We did take the road down to the right and didn't come up with anything. We also checked the road to the left just to make sure, and there's a big riverbed that leopard could well have got into, and that is why we may not see him. So at least we tried, and one thing's for certain, we've had an incredible afternoon, and I hope you've all enjoyed it thoroughly. I certainly have, and so has Liam, and thanks to him for his great camera work again this afternoon, and also thanks to Nikki in the final control shame. It couldn't have been easy being in there with all this action going on, and hopefully we'll get you out here soon one day. So a big thank you to everyone, and we will see you all tomorrow morning. Oh, good news, Brent is back. Well, he should be, so that's some good news. And the bad news that comes along with that is that we'll be losing Marc tomorrow. He's going to be going on leave, so I'm sure he's mentioned that to you. But Brent's heading off, Marc's heading off for a break, and Brent's getting back, so there are some changes to look forward to, and I certainly do. So tomorrow morning it should be Brent and myself out, 2 vehicles out in the morning, and we will see you then.